So it's day 2 at MCM. Saturday has been sold out. Accessibility was the same as yesterday, a lot easier since we've already collected the passes. So you have a different pass for every day unless you've got a weekend ticket. So for anybody who's got mobility issues, it's really simple. You go to the lift, you get the lift up to where they come out from the DNLR station. Security was really quick. You've got your COVID test results on your phone. You show them that. They give you a wristband to say that your COVID results has been checked. You've already got your tickets. You're straight into the con. That's it. If you're needing tickets, then they will escort you down to where to collect the tickets and do fast track you, so you don't have to join the queue. They will actually fast track you to the booth so that you can get your tickets there. So accessibility has been great to get into the con. A little bit of a faff on yesterday until you got used to it, but it's been really easy today to do. As far as the COVID regulations are concerned, brilliant. Obviously they're making you do it. You've got to have a different colour band every day, so you've got to prove your negative result every day. So that's showing your passport or a lateral flow test that's been done within 2 days. So we've done another one this morning because we've done one on Thursday before we came down. That covered us for Friday. We've done another one this morning and that will cover us for today and tomorrow's to get into the event. They then also have hand sanitizers, I've noticed, all over the XL as well. So pretty simple to keep up on your hygiene there. They ask you to wear masks. It's not compulsory, so it is up to you. However, there is certain areas where you have to. So enclosed panels, autographs, you have to wear the mask. Queues for the photo shoots, you have to wear the mask, but you take them off for the photos to be done. However, at the moment, due to COVID still being around, they've got the plexiglass between you and the person that you have the photo with. The only problem is that they haven't reduced the prices for the con and they haven't reduced the prices for the photo ops. So it is like still the same price, which has made a lot of people kick off regarding the actual cost of things, because you're not getting the full experience. Also, there's a lot less exhibitors here, which is another thing. However, people-wise, they are sold out for the day. It is extremely busy. We will do some video footage of the floor. But overall, so far, we've had no issues getting in. It's been pretty simple, so we'll see how it goes for the rest of the day. And we'll do an update later on tonight. Stopping. So we're coming up to 3:30 now on day 2 at ComicCon MCM London. We're at the XL. As you can see, the makeup's starting to lack. I cannot wait to get this off tonight. I'm expecting that face to be in a right mess. So it's been quite hectic today, so it's not as busy as it would normally be because they've reduced numbers for the tickets. And however, Saturday has still been sold out, which I think I mentioned before. Even though all the stalls are spaced out and there is more room than you would normally have to manoeuvre, it is extremely busy. So somebody in a wheelchair like myself and others I've met are still having major issues with this. Also, other issues we're having is things like accessing the green outside of XL, because out here is where like the cosplayers meet up, and it's where all the like meet up photo shoots are done and people get together for fresh air and meeting new friends and things like that. So I'm going to show you around the green a little bit. There, I'm just going to take you around. You see, that's the green. See, it's up. There's the XL. So we've came down. We didn't know apparently there's a ramp at the other side. So been speaking to somebody else about this as well. It's not been exactly easy for anybody in a wheelchair to get down here. So we came down that ramp down there and tried to head off down that way, but all the fencing is all the way down to the bottom to stop people for some reason getting into this area. So we actually had to ask one of the guards to actually open up the barrier and let us in. The thing being was the other guy who I was speaking to had the same issue, but they wouldn't let him in, so he's had a complete and utter mess trying to get in here. So yeah, a few issues with that as well, but I'll explain more about that in the hotel. So we're going to head up towards the other ramp and see how easy it is to get back in.
Like that and starts standing like literally putting it up. As a fishing set, come on, chap!
You took my water one. You took my water one.
The water?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're standing way close to the water. It's not attention. You've got attention last night.
No?
I swear that I'm not even thinking. If it's not.
So we're at the end of day 2, as you can see, out cosplay. Today's been again very different. I want to start with the entrance and the COVID safety rules that MCM and the Excel have got in place. So we went in the same way as we did yesterday, so it was again quite easily. It was flawless. I think I've already said this previously in the video. Straight up into the lift. Showed a current lateral flow test, got the different coloured band for the day, straight in, done the bag check, and straight into the con. So it was, yeah, it was really simple, really easy to do, no fuss, no hassle, pretty simple. Great that they're checking everybody's COVID tests, that you got the bands to prove you've been COVID checked. We actually had autographs and photo sessions to do, so as part of the COVID safety rules, before you can actually have your autograph and photograph done, you've actually got to go and get a separate wristband to say that you've been COVID checked. If you're under 18, they check your age, and if you're over 18, they ask for proof of a double vaccination. So I'm assuming if you have not been double vaccinated or you've not been vaccinated, then I'm not quite sure whether or not you would actually get the COVID check wristband for the photographs and autographs, but maybe that's something we can ask about tomorrow and clarify that for everybody out there. Going forward, we're not saying that, you know, hopefully COVID is going to be something we'll learn to live with and, you know, things will settle down and go back to some kind of normal, but, you know, we have to be honest that this could be the new normal for events. Yeah, going forward, could be that they will just do this automatically from now on. So I will clarify that tomorrow, as if you don't have a double vaccination, does that prohibit you from entering, or would they then ask to see a lateral flow test? The only other disability issue that I came across today was to do with the green. So outside of the Excel, as you've probably seen in the video, there's a big green space where a lot of the cosplayers hang out. There's often entertainment outside, music. You have a lot of fan meetups taking place outside. A lot of people go outside to do photography shoots. You have a lot of group photos taken. So for example, they'll have the DC photo shoot, they'll have all the Spider-Man photo shoot. So you'll go and you'll get your photograph taken for the Excel and the MCM. And a lot of cosplayers like hanging out there during the con just to sit down, relax, chill, meet with friends, like I said, meet up with certain fan groups, etc. Now, don't think they've done this previous years, but this year they had the whole thing railed off so that to control the inflow of people coming in, I'm assuming into the square, and therefore being able to get in and out of the XL. So being disabled, you have to obviously come out the front of the XL, you've got to go downstairs. Can't do that if you're in a wheelchair or if you have other mobility issues, so you've got to go to the ramps. Now, we didn't know there was ramps at the other side, but the ramp that we've been using, we could go down there, but when you went down the bottom, it was all railed off. So we were trundling all the way along to see if there was any openings, but they literally had the whole green fenced off, so there was actually no way of getting in to the actual green bit. So we had to come all the way back up and actually ask one of the guards how we'd get in, and he actually took the railings apart to let us in onto the green. And we found out there was a ramp at the other side that we could use to get back into the front of the XL. But again, we trundled across the green to get to this second ramp. And unfortunately, again, it was fenced off. The only exit was actually to go straight down, and it was kind of like a tunnel area. So they were taking like miles away from where you wanted to be, and you would have had to go all the way around. So again, we had to ask security guard if we could actually get out of the rails. We could move the railings so we could get the ramp to get back up to the front of the XL. However, after speaking to one of the other congos that was in a wheelchair, he actually had a run-in with one of the guards. So he had the same issue as me. He had to come down the ramp because he was in a wheelchair. He needed to get into the green, wanted to get into the green to meet up with his friends. And the security guard, he actually asked to let him in, actually refused him entry. Even though he had his wristbands on and everything like that, just absolutely refused him entry. And basically told him that he'd have to go all the way around. Which just wasn't on. And after he asked for a name, because he wanted to speak to a supervisor, give him a false name. Refused to get the supervisor. So he actually had to come up and ask somebody else to let him in through the gate. But there is actually like no entrance onto the green from the XL for anybody who has a mobility issue or who needs to use the ramps to get out of the front of the XL. And I'm talking about like the west entrance of the actual con. So yes, that was an issue today. Very, very busy. Even though there wasn't a lot of retailers there, even though there wasn't a lot of exhibitors there, even though there was a lot more space than there normally is, it was still difficult to get round. There was still a lot of people. The queues were absolutely massive for getting food. They usually you would expect on a con. They'd even sold out of tickets. So even though there was a reduced capacity, they still sold all the tickets for Saturday. So it was still really, really busy to get in. So that's something definitely to bear in mind if you're going in a wheelchair, you've got mobility issues, or even sensory issues, or you have anxiety issues and you don't cope so well with crowds. Is even at reduced capacity, it was still a busy day. And Saturday will always be a very heavy, busy day at the conventions. So just to bear that in mind if you do have any of those issues. The other thing we've discovered is that all the food courts have become contactless. So the card payments only, so don't take cash at all now. So that's something else to bear in mind in future. I can't see that changing back. I think that's probably the way it's going to be going forward. So just to bear in mind if you're going to eat at the convention, that you are going to have to pay by card for these things. Because that has something that's caught us out a couple of times as well. Other than that, yeah, good day. Like I said, busy, a lot more people there. A lot of cosplayers around, some fantastic costumes. It was until 7 today, quite a long day, so it's been quite tiring. We stayed until about 6 o'clock tonight. So it was quite a long day for everybody, quite tiring for me. So again, if you have health issues of any description, it's going to be a long tiring day to maybe kind of think about breaks in between, maybe going outside, taking a rest. Even if you're in a hotel nearby or an apartment, maybe even doing that, go home, go back to the hotel for a couple of hours, go back later on, because like I said, the con was on till 7 o'clock tonight as well. So just try and put yourself some rest breaks in between because you might find it a little bit stressful. The other thing I want to bring up is, for the first time ever at a convention, I experienced disability and weight hate. So yes, I'm not I'm not a small woman. I'm a big lady. I'm a big lady for a number of reasons. I have multiple illnesses, multiple chronic illnesses, as well as being a double amputee. I have chronic fatigue, sleep apnea, fibromyalgia. I have hypertension. I have Raynaud's. I have carpal tunnel syndrome. I have arthritis, both osteo and rheumatoid. I have asthma and other things that I just, off the top of my head, the list goes on. All the medication I've been on, the lack of mobility has increased my weight. Not going to lie to you, not going to pretend it's a thyroid problem, because it's not. I do have a hang up with crisps, and I have not been great with my eating in the past. But recently, after being rushed into hospital with a near stroke because of the hypertension, I have stopped. I have cut out a lot of things, and I already had done that previously because I've been trying to lose weight, but I've reduced my intake even more. So I'm having things like shakes and fruit for breakfast, shakes and fruit for dinner, and then having a calorie controlled meal on an evening. Yes, I still have my crisps. Yes, I have the odd treat, and I have had the odd slip up, not gonna lie. However, due to the issues that I have, the hypertension, they now also think that I have spinal fluid pressure, which is causing me to bloat and fluid retention, edema, and they think that's all causing issues. So I'm now on a diuretic as well to try and lose the fluid, which is causing me weight problem. Sorry, dry throat. So yeah, I'm not a small lady, and I have to use a wheelchair. So we were at the com, and I'll be honest with you, over the last couple of months, it's been difficult to deal with these health issues, these new ones, and it's been extremely disheartening to find out that I've cut everything out that I enjoy, and I have cut down everything that I eating wise, and I'm basically on 1,200 calories a day. And I thought, you know what, I'm going away for the weekend, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm just going to enjoy myself. Because what's happened is, when I've been trying to lose weight, I've actually found out that because of the bloating, because of the medication, because of the sedemia, and because they now think that I have spinal fluid pressure, I've actually gained more weight instead of losing weight. So anybody who has experienced this will understand how devastating it is and how heartbreaking it is to find out that instead of losing weight, when you're depriving yourself of things, that you're actually gaining weight. So like I said, they've got me on this diuretic, and they're trying to keep a steady eye on my blood pressure and my hypertension, because if that doesn't work, I'll be in hospital for medication and possibly spinal tap to try and drain some of the fluid away, which I will lose weight with. However, so, on holiday, like I was saying, I would put everything on hold. I would enjoy myself. So I went to the cable stand and sweet stand. So if you've seen the big pens, some people call them pencils. Some people call them cables. You usually get like £4 for £5 or something in the shops. So I thought, I'll treat myself to them. I'll treat myself to some of them to take home. And while standing there, this group of lads decided they were going to basically take the mick out of us, because I was in a wheelchair and I was a big lady. And they said some pretty nasty things that was pointed out to us. And, it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. And at that point, I felt like just going back to the hotel and just not bothering. And honestly, it was absolutely heartbreaking, because people they see you as being a big person. Now their assumption, because I had that back to them, all I can assume is they saw a big lady in a wheelchair and assumed, look at her, she's in a wheelchair because she's overweight, and she's overweight because she eats too much. And that's obviously been the conclusion they've come to, until I've turned around and they've seen that I've got no legs, and they hadn't realised they'd actually been overheard with what they'd said. And yeah, it was absolutely devastating. It actually ruined the experience for us this morning. So, and that's the first time I've ever been to a convention, ever, where I've experienced that kind of bigotry from cosplayers. These people were also cosplaying. This whole community that's supposed to be inclusive. You know, people, you need to think. You know, people really need to think before they open their mouths. You know, you've got no idea. You know, these are the type of people that think they're clever when they're with their mates, and they think they're keyboard warriors when they're behind a screen, but they're not. They're what I like to call, you know, Billy Big Balls, basically, because they don't have any. You know, hashtag be kind. You know, if that's the case, practice what you preach. Just remember, you've got no idea what anybody else is going through. You have no idea why that person is the size she is. Whether that's fat or skinny, you've got no idea what is going on in that person's life. You have no idea what medical reasons they could possibly be dealing with to be the way they are, or because of the way they look. You've got no idea. If you see someone in a wheelchair, you have absolutely no idea why that person's in a wheelchair, and you should not assume it's because they're overweight or they're lazy. So just, you know, in future, it would be nice if people could just bear that in mind. But anyway, that's my rant over for what I've experienced today with regards to a hate crime. Like I said, it's the first time it's ever happened at a con. I would honestly say that 98% of people that go to cons and cosplays themselves are generally lovely, kind-hearted people that are extremely inclusive. You know, I've been to many conventions. I've met so many cosplayers, and I've never come across that kind of bigotry before from anybody or from any of the community. But, you know, you do get, just because it is an inclusive society, just because it is an inclusive experience, does not mean that it's just, people aren't going to be pricks still. So, there you go. That's just my experience of today. But overall, you know, ease of use, great. Again, COVID rules, fantastic. The only thing I've got to point out is definitely no social distancing going on. Yes, they've got less retailers in there and there is more space. Definitely no social distancing at all. Not in the queues, not when you're going past people. There's very few people wearing masks. One of the rules is that you're supposed to wear masks in the auditoriums and the panels. I've went to a lot of the different panels. I've went to the live stage. I've went to the creator stage. I've even went to the main stage where it's all enclosed. And I'm yet to be asked to put on a mask. I've yet to have anybody who's with us been asked to put on a mask. I've yet to see anybody wearing a mask. So, hot in some cases, yes. Something to be designed in others, definitely. But, you know, that's the second day over. Tomorrow it should be a little bit quieter. We'll come again tomorrow to see what the final day is like. We've also got a big day tomorrow, so me and one of the daughters are actually meeting Tom Hiddleston tomorrow. So we'll be able to tell you what it's going to be like to do the photos and the autographs. So we'll get back to you tomorrow. So don't forget, you can find me on TikTok at JCD Talks. You can also find me across on Facebook. And don't forget to follow, like and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you.